Hello everybody. I did some mods to the Kone Pro Air that I got today and they turned out really well. So I wanted to show you guys what I did and what kind of a difference it made and give you some more information in case you want to consider trying this yourself. So the video first will be a before and after comparison that I recorded previously, and then I'll try to talk through some of the mods that I did with pictures showing the steps. This is an assessment of the Kone Pro Air prior to opening it up. Okay, scroll wheel feels solid. Ah, there we are. Okay, so the thumb buttons don't actually have really any play, but the button can come further out than it sits at naturally. So if you do this, you get that, and that's why I tensioned the last one. And then there is some pre-travel tensioning that needs to be done on the left mouse. And perhaps a hair, but much less on right mouse. I think that's it. Alright, here's an after comparison now that I've modded it. So you don't have the same rattle here on the thumb buttons. Like there's the tiniest bit of it if you just tap it right, but you know, you really have to be going for it. You can't just be slightly releasing the button the wrong way. And then so there's no rattle on mouse 1. No rattle on mouse 2. And then I also lubed the scroll wheel. So basically the steps feel equally as defined as before, but the motion between steps is it feels more filled in. Like it's not as easy to scroll, but there's no wobble or rattle between steps. It just moves very smoothly from one to the next. And so you get a nice and quiet and very like intuitively tactile feeling, because every single step is clearly defined and there's no slop or play where it can wobble between one step and the next and make it feel like it's done something when it hasn't. I had somebody who was asking about how to apply the grips, so I'll try to explain what I did. Basically, this front corner of the grip I lined up so that it was as far forward as it can go while still lining up with the top and bottom edge of the shell here, the white section. And then I peeled away the backing just from the front bit, stuck that in place, and then sort of basically slowly peeled the nonstick backing out from behind this way as I tried to kind of continually massage it into place using this top line, this upper line here where there's very obvious curves and indications of shape as a guide. So I tried to keep the grip close to that edge. And then for the mouse buttons, the first thing I did was to line up this inside line here and then the back line there, and then basically peeled it forward, the nonstick backing out from under it forward this way, and tried to keep ensuring that up towards the front here they were still lined up correctly. Anyway, so that's my fully modded, improved button tensioning, grip taped, and lubed up scroll wheel on a Kone Pro Air. It's even reused the factory skates. I pulled them off very carefully with the blue covering still on them, put them back on, pulled it off, and I can't even see any major wrinkles or creases in them. You can see the adhesive just is a little bit messed up from having pulled it off previously, but overall I'm very happy with how cleanly it went, and the result is excellent. These are better tensioned and better feeling than the last Kone Pro Air I had, and the thumb buttons are just as good, and the scroll wheel is even better. So yeah, now that I have a better grip tape, this black blue BT.L grip tape is so much better than the black purple one I had on the old mouse. This is nice. I really like this mouse now. Okay, so other than applying the grips, what were the rest of the mods and how did I do them? So basically everything that I did inside the mouse is done on the upper portion of the shell. So once you separate it into two pieces, you can see in this photo basically everything that I did. I'll put a closer zoomed in picture. So for the main clicks, because the left click was looser than the right click, I used this thicker tape. Then for the other button, I used thinner aluminum tape. Where I put it here, as you can see, is not where it actually pushes on the switch itself. That's these little black pieces, which are kind of more in the middle of the button. Where I put the tape, what it does is limit how far upward the switch can travel when you're not clicking it. So it prevents the switches from lifting up too far. And what I did was add material there to force them to not come up as far so they couldn't be loose enough to rattle. Because I don't have a good way of limiting how far out the side buttons can go, I just had to add the fabric tape directly onto the portion of the switch which pushes against the button, the switch itself. So that's where you'll see here, I use the fabric tape on both of those. If there's enough space, I tend to prefer using the fabric tape to the aluminum tape. It does have some give to it. It just doesn't rattle around and it doesn't feel like harsh, like hard plastic on other hard plastic. So to me, it's a slightly higher quality feel. So that's why I tend to prefer using a material that has a slight sort of insulative property or a slight cushion to it rather than the metal tape. For the scroll wheel, you can see here it has an exposed mechanism on top. So what you do is you put the lube on the left side of this blue plastic gear where the teeth are, and then you basically just spin the scroll wheel back and forth several times until it sort of works itself into the mechanism. When you spin it one way, the lube will kind of pile up on that side of the encoder, and then you spin it back the other direction and it pulls it again. And so by doing that back and forth, it gradually feeds the lube into the mechanism. I'm sure some people will know more about this than I do and say I massively over-lubed it or something, but the end result, again, has that really kind of solid and filled-in feeling, and I don't mind the small amount of extra drag in order to get this, again, very kind of quiet, well-controlled, slightly, to me, slightly premium feeling scroll wheel experience. And then, yeah, once I had all that done, it was just a matter of reassembling everything in exactly as you would. Otherwise, you don't have to make any special considerations for the tape or do anything like that. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments section. I'd be happy to answer them. And if you have any ideas about anything else you'd love to see from me, or if you just want to know, what mice do you have, what can we ask you to review, then yeah, I'd be more than happy to fill you guys in on that. Anyway, hope you're having a good day, and I'll see you in the next one.